Before we begin, I want to offer you a treat. That way, whatever I say or do, you will experience pleasure. And if the going gets rough, just suck a little harder. It's a trick I learned from my employers, my doctor and my dog. No matter the detail, you will learn to love me. On waking this morning, I realized I was God. There was nothing insane about this thought. It just arrived, this fact. In becoming a fact, you have no choice but to unfold your inheritance, to act. The museum's holy fool. Of course I played into the hands of the keepers. I was young. I wanted to sit at the table, to see the world. I wanted to be someone. But in my anxiety, I became the addict of my own pathology. I became the institution. Dependable and loved for my adherence to procedure. Fettered and rewarded for my charming insolence. Even drug-fucked and morbid, I obeyed the principle of my tenure. Corrections begin with conflict, disease, and psychosis. But how can one refuse one's instinct to crawl out of the old skin, the law and the mob, and realign oneself with the cosmos? I am in love with the possibility that you are the perfect stranger. Our collision will correct all permissions, catastrophe. Together, we will destroy the myth of contemporary art. Together, we will prove that contemporary art no longer exists, has produced its own shadow, a semblance of motivations, a disembodied, sexless commodity for those to aspire to appear in a world they no longer inhabit. As God, I can tell you, men and women's actions cannot be systematized. Creation cannot be learnt. That's why it is creation. How many times did you imagine yourself to be in possession of the law, only to be revealed as a pretender, an errand boy for the accountants? Your average pretender in the colonial estate eventually gets greedy. It's a reaction to the semblance of culture they find themselves in, addicted to art, music, media, overseas travel, real estate. The social becomes a mutual congratulation with a den of thieves. Philosophers, educators, artists or bankers, it makes no difference. Being becomes getting. Whatever from whoever, be it land, resources, money or power. We all know how it works. We have all-seeing eyes and primitive ears. Our addiction to perversity is a godsend for the bagman, the certification of modernity. Stuffing, that's what we have become. The window dressers of corporate playpens, the sonic drivers of phantom futures. If the keepers demand another museum, you will be asked to fill it. The content is irrelevant. Just fill in the space provided. Your average punter will use it as a photo opportunity, the getting of culture by proximity. Meanwhile, the keepers go to war to further their monopoly on some delusional future. A war that begins at home against its own people, softening the blow with more art houses, Salvation Armies and real estate. Artists are the advance guard of this war on time, the illusionists of hope, the wide-eyed, sweating marketeers of non-conformity. We are the keepers, the accountants, and the lawmakers. Our mission here tonight is to equal the stultifying onslaught of the counting machines. Only in this way can we measure our distance from its heart, our complicity. And when we know its heart, we can lovingly destroy the conditions of its proliferation, collapsing time, space, reason, and accountability in the marrow of our bones, in the unfolding of new limbs, seeking out and testing the myriad extensions of the organism. Pressure, release, thickening, and dividing. I am in love with the possibility that you are the perfect stranger. Our collision will correct all permissions, catastrophe.